What if I told you The Last of Us Season 3 might already be dead? And it's all because of Bella Ramsey. Behind the scenes, things weren't just tense. They were toxic. Leaked clips, viral interviews, and silent shade from co-star Isabella Merced paint a wild picture. Fans saw the awkward body language. Industry insiders are finally talking. And now, Bella's career might be hanging by a thread. Buckle up. This Hollywood fallout is messier than anyone expected. So let's break it down. Isabella Merced wasn't supposed to be the center of attention. She was cast as Dina, Ellie's love interest and one of the most beloved characters from the game. But what fans didn't expect was how quickly Isabella would steal the spotlight, not through interviews or statements, but by doing the exact opposite. She stayed quiet, she stayed professional, and she stayed far away from the drama. As promo for Season 2 rolled out, fans noticed something strange. Isabella was rarely seen alongside Bella Ramsey. When she did appear, her energy was careful, composed, almost distant. Interviews where the two were supposed to appear together were mysteriously canceled or rescheduled. And when they did sit next to each other, Isabella barely looked Bella's way. No inside jokes, no friendly banter. Just clipped responses and forced smiles. But it wasn't just what she said, it was what she didn't say. While Bella dominated headlines with political soundbites and social media debates, Isabella stuck to the script. She praised the crew, she thanked the directors, she complimented the writers. But when asked about Bella or their dynamic on set, silence. That silence spoke volumes. Insiders say Isabella had made a decision early on. She didn't want to be associated with the growing storm around Bella. And instead of fueling rumors or issuing vague responses, she chose a smarter path: professional distance. It was calculated, but it worked. The contrast between the two actresses couldn't have been clearer. Bella was loud, unfiltered, and increasingly divisive. Isabella? Quiet, focused, and gaining respect behind the scenes. But it wouldn't be long before the tension between them became impossible to ignore. Because one interview, just one, would change everything. Out of nowhere, the silence broke. Craig Mazin, co-creator of The Last of Us, finally addressed the backlash. And while he didn't come out swinging, his words said enough. In a carefully worded statement, he admitted that Season 2 didn't land the way they hoped. It was subtle, maybe even diplomatic. But make no mistake, it was a quiet confession that things had gone terribly wrong. And for fans who had been screaming into the void, it felt like validation. The creators knew the season failed. They just hadn't said it out loud, until now. Craig's comments sparked a new wave of discussions. Industry insiders began whispering that the problems went deeper than plot or pacing. There were talks of disagreements between producers, unexpected rewrites, and growing concerns about casting choices, especially the decision to keep Bella Ramsey as Ellie despite the time skip. Some claimed that HBO was warned early on, that showrunners flagged concerns about how the time jump would visually break continuity. But with Bella still under contract and her sudden fame after Season 1, no one wanted to rock the boat. Craig's statement also hinted at something else: regret. Regret that what should have been a triumphant return ended in confusion and conflict. But what he didn't say, what he carefully avoided, was the growing drama on set. The tension between cast members, the directors who walked, the promo team struggling to keep things from spilling online. Fans didn't need him to spell it out. The cracks were already visible. And now that the show's creator had acknowledged the failure, there was no putting the genie back in the bottle. Season 2 was no longer just a misstep. It was a confirmed disaster. But that was just the surface. Because behind closed doors, the situation was spiraling fast. And one name kept surfacing every time: Bella Ramsey. As the show unraveled publicly, word started to leak from behind the scenes. And what came out painted a very different picture than what fans had been shown in promos and interviews. Insiders claim the set of The Last of Us Season 2 wasn't just tense, it was toxic. Reports of constant arguments, delays, and even directors stepping away mid-project began to circulate quietly, then loudly. Something or someone was making production a nightmare. Whispers pointed directly at Bella Ramsey. According to multiple anonymous crew members, Bella allegedly clashed with nearly everyone, from fellow actors to top-level producers. Rehearsals were reportedly difficult. Energy on set was described as hostile. Some even claimed that certain scenes had to be rewritten or reshot because of off-script improvisation or refusal to take direction. And while everyone tried to keep things professional, the vibe reportedly got worse with every passing week. But that wasn't all. Directors and assistant directors, who normally work quietly in the background, began stepping back from their episodes. Rumors spread that a few had even asked to be reassigned to other HBO projects. Why? One source claimed they were tired of walking on eggshells. Meanwhile, HBO tried to control the narrative. Promo materials were polished. Interviews were tightly scheduled. Cast members were briefed before speaking publicly. But even the best PR team couldn't hide the cracks forever. Because while Bella Ramsey remained the face of the show, another actress, one who had remained quiet this whole time, was slowly pulling away, and fans were about to notice. It was supposed to be routine. A press event promoting The Last of Us Season 2, one of dozens scheduled before the premiere. But this one? It changed everything. Just 3 minutes long, yet it exploded across social media like wildfire. The clip featured Bella Ramsey and Isabella Merced sitting side by side, but the energy between them wasn't just off. It was painfully awkward. Bella, as usual, dominated the conversation. She spoke with fire and passion, launching into divisive topics about identity, politics, and what the show should represent. Meanwhile, Isabella barely said a word. Her body stiff, her eyes darting, her arms crossed tightly across her chest. Viewers didn't miss it. In fact, they studied every second. TikTok lit up with body language breakdowns. YouTube channels ran reaction videos in slow motion. "Watch her flinch," one user pointed out. "Look at how Isabella clenches her jaw every time Bella interrupts." It was the kind of tension you couldn't fake, and the internet knew it. Hashtags started trending. Theories swirled. Was Isabella being silenced? Was she uncomfortable with Bella's rants? Was there more going on behind the scenes? People didn't just watch the clip. They dissected it frame by frame. And the verdict was brutal. The vibe between them was icy. The contrast between Bella's loud, controversial takes and Isabella's quiet, uneasy presence became impossible to ignore. Suddenly, this wasn't about the show anymore. It was about a feud. A very real, very visible split between two stars who were supposed to carry the franchise forward. That interview didn't just go viral. It shattered the illusion that everything was fine. And what happened next only confirmed what fans already feared. The drama on set wasn't just speculation. It was spilling out in real time. After that interview, there was no going back. What fans once whispered about became headline news. Bella Ramsey and Isabella Merced weren't just distant, they were in a full-blown silent war. Red carpet events confirmed it. At premieres, they stood apart. When photographers asked for joint shots, Isabella politely declined. Interviews became separate. Press appearances were split. The tension was no longer subtle, it was strategy. Fans started connecting the dots. In every clip, Isabella appeared guarded. She'd smile for the cameras but barely acknowledge Bella's presence. At one event, a reporter asked a question about their on-screen chemistry, and Isabella gave a rehearsed answer that didn't mention Bella once. The message? She was done pretending. Meanwhile, Bella's interviews became more unfiltered than ever. She leaned harder into identity-driven narratives, often shifting focus away from the show and toward broader activism. That might have worked in a different context, but here, it clashed with fans who just wanted compelling storytelling. The audience began to fracture. Some defended Bella. Others said she was hijacking the show for personal causes. And Isabella? She said nothing. But her silence only made her look stronger. Insiders later revealed that producers were scrambling. Promo tours were becoming a nightmare to manage. Scheduling both actresses together became nearly impossible. Morale on set had reportedly collapsed during filming. Crew members picked sides. Directors struggled to control scenes. By the time the show aired, the damage was done. The divide wasn't just public. It had gutted the heart of the production. But just when it felt like the drama couldn't get worse, something surfaced that pushed everything over the edge, and it was caught on camera. No one knows exactly how it happened. Some say it was a frustrated crew member. Others blame a security breach. But whatever the cause, The Last of Us's worst nightmare came true. Raw footage from early Season 2 scenes started leaking online. Unedited, unfiltered, unforgiving. And the difference between Bella and Isabella? Crystal clear. On one side, clips of Isabella Merced as Dina went viral for all the right reasons. Her performance was grounded, emotional, and haunting in a way that instantly reminded fans of the game's legacy. But the moment clips of Bella Ramsey dropped, things got brutal. Viewers flooded comment sections with confusion and disbelief. "Is she reading off cue cards?" one user asked. "This is the same energy as Season 1. What happened to the time jump?" Side-by-side edits took over TikTok, comparing scenes between the two actresses. Isabella's delivery was praised for its depth and realism. Bella's, in contrast, felt forced and exaggerated. The internet didn't hold back. Comments labeled her acting as sloppy, overacted, and emotionally flat. Some fans even begged HBO to recast Ellie entirely. But the acting wasn't the only thing being picked apart. Bella's reputation, already fragile, took another hit. Every old interview, every political rant, every social media post was now being tied to her performance. Viewers couldn't separate the character from the controversy. She wasn't just Ellie anymore. She was Bella Ramsey, the activist, the alleged diva, the actress accused of derailing a beloved show. This leak didn't just reveal uneven performances. It confirmed what many had feared for months. Something was very, very wrong behind the scenes. And now, insiders were ready to talk. After months of whispers and cryptic rumors, the truth started flooding out. Crew members, production insiders, and even unnamed cast sources began spilling details about Bella Ramsey's behavior during filming. And the stories, they were brutal. According to multiple reports, Bella allegedly argued with directors, dismissed notes from producers, and constantly tried to steer scenes away from the source material. Some insiders even claimed she'd go on long political tangents during breaks, alienating co-stars and derailing the tone on set. The most damning accusation? That Isabela Merced herself reportedly called Bella's conduct a complete disaster. While Isabella didn't make any public statement, several crew members claimed she privately voiced frustration about the toxic environment. She allegedly felt that Bella's off-screen dominance overshadowed the actual work, and the cast suffered for it. Producers, according to sources, were stuck. Bella was still the lead, still tied to a major contract, and still HBO's golden child, at least for now. But as the drama mounted, the studio's patience wore thin. Some directors refused to work on future episodes. Others asked to have scenes rewritten to minimize Bella's screen time. Behind closed doors, execs began reassessing everything, including the future of The Last of Us Season 3. It wasn't just about one actress being difficult. This was about a lead star who, according to insiders, had become a liability. Someone whose off-screen presence threatened to implode the entire project. And as Isabella Merced's quiet professionalism stood in stark contrast, a power shift was underway. But now, the question on everyone's mind wasn't just what happened. It was, can this show survive what's coming next? Behind the scenes, HBO was panicking, but you wouldn't know it from the outside. Publicly, everything was business as usual. The marketing machine kept rolling, interviews continued, and Bella Ramsey remained front and center. But industry insiders revealed a very different story. Executives were quietly backing away from their once prized lead. Conversations about The Last of Us Season 3 went from excited to uncertain. Budgets were suddenly under review. Scheduling became vague. And for the first time, there were whispers that the show might not even return. Casting directors reportedly began treating Bella like a risk. Not a monster, not impossible, but unpredictable. The kind of actor who draws too much heat, too many headlines, and not the good kind. Behind closed doors, HBO had grown tired of the tension, tired of trying to clean up the mess. Some insiders even claimed there were closed-door meetings about soft exiting Bella from future seasons. Whether through creative rewrites or subtle contract shuffling, the message was clear. Her grip on the franchise was slipping. Meanwhile, agents and producers were already floating new ideas. Some hinted at shifting focus toward Isabella Merced's character. Others suggested introducing new leads altogether. But the most telling sign? The silence. HBO refused to answer questions about Season 3. They didn't deny anything, but they didn't confirm it either. No teasers, no announcements, just nothing. And in Hollywood, silence isn't random. It's calculated. The studio wasn't ready to declare the show dead, but they were definitely preparing to move on. And the moment that decision became public, one person would benefit more than anyone else. The actress who never tried to control the narrative. The one who stayed out of the chaos. Isabella Merced was no longer just surviving the fallout, she was rising above it. While Bella's name dominated headlines for all the wrong reasons, Isabella Merced's career was moving in the opposite direction. Quietly, steadily, successfully. Insiders began calling her the real winner of The Last of Us Season 2. Not because of screen time, but because of how she handled the chaos. She showed up, she delivered, and she stayed out of the fire. Studio executives praised her for her professionalism. Casting agents called her low drama, high impact. In an industry drowning in scandal fatigue, Isabella's calm, composed approach stood out. She didn't feed the gossip. She didn't engage in cryptic tweets or shade throwing. She focused on the work and let the rest collapse without her. And it paid off. Hollywood noticed. Before Season 2 had even finished airing, Isabella was fielding new offers, big ones. She landed a major role in an upcoming studio blockbuster. She was attached to a limited series with a top-tier director, and suddenly, her name was everywhere, not because of controversy, but because of talent. What's more impressive? She never had to say a word about Bella. Not one passive-aggressive comment, no vague Instagram stories, no clapbacks, just distance. Controlled, professional distance. That alone told everyone everything they needed to know. Fans picked up on it too. Comment sections that once debated Bella's every move now flooded with praise for Isabella. She's the only one acting like a grown-up. Give her her own show. She's carrying this franchise now. Whether intentional or not, Isabella had executed one of the cleanest image flips in recent memory, without lifting a finger. But as her star rose, Bella's began to fall. And what started as tension between two actresses had now become something much bigger. A complete reversal of power. By the end of Season 2, the damage was undeniable. The numbers told one story, ratings down, merchandise sales slumping, fan enthusiasm fading fast. But the whispers told another. Inside HBO, The Last of Us had become radioactive. A once unstoppable force now limping through controversy, creative burnout, and a divided cast. The drama wasn't just a distraction, it had gutted the heart of the series. According to multiple sources, Season 3 is now frozen. Not officially canceled, but no longer moving forward. The showrunners are reportedly reassessing the direction, but most insiders say that's code for pulling the plug. It's not just about story fatigue, it's about risk management. With Bella Ramsey at the center of so many headlines, none of them good, executives are scared. Advertisers are hesitant, investors are backing off, and the fan base completely fractured. Some still defend Bella, arguing she's misunderstood. Others say the show should never have pushed such a polarizing figure to the forefront. The once united fandom now lives in factions: Team Bella, Team Isabella, and Team Let It Die. But through all the chaos, one uncomfortable truth keeps rising to the surface. This might have been avoidable. If Bella had approached fame differently, if egos had been checked, if the production hadn't let off-screen drama eclipse the story, maybe things would be different. Maybe season 3 would already be filming. Maybe the show would still feel like a phenomenon instead of a cautionary tale. But instead, a beloved franchise lies in limbo. And one actress who once had everything may have burned it all down. The Last of Us was never supposed to fall apart like this. It had everything: a breakout hit, a loyal fan base, and one of the most acclaimed game adaptations in television history. But fame is a tricky thing. And when you mix ambition, ego, controversy, and silence, you don't just get drama, you get a collapse. Bella Ramsey started as the face of the franchise, the fighter, the fresh new star. But somewhere along the way, the spotlight shifted. The activism got louder, the performances got messier, and the pressure cracked everything wide open. Meanwhile, Isabella Merced, the newcomer, the outsider, did something few in Hollywood pull off. She stayed quiet. She let the work speak. And in doing so, she turned a toxic situation into a launchpad. The future of The Last of Us remains uncertain. The third season may never come. But one thing is clear. This franchise didn't fall because of one bad episode. It fell because of everything happening when the cameras weren't rolling. So the question now isn't whether Bella Ramsey can bounce back. The question is whether Hollywood still wants to give her that chance. And as for Isabella Merced, she didn't need to win the argument, she won the room.